Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the Tier 7 US destroyer The Sims and I'm using these modules and commander skill. No, actually I'm not using these commander skills. These are the commander skills and modules I would recommend on using The Sims. However, these are not the ones that I am using this game. You see, with patch 0.6.0 there was this commander skill reset discount and I used my Fletcher and Sims captain for a few games on the Atlanta and I tailored a build for it. However, due to some confusion on when the discounts ended, well, I ended up stuck with a captain that is less than ideal for something like the Sims and the Fletcher. For instance, I have IFHE on this captain in this game, which is fairly... I suppose it's not useless, but it's not very good. So, the Sims is, like I said, a Tier 7 US destroyer, and she is a ship that I would actually recommend in Ranked. You see, not only is she a fairly strong fighter, she also seems to have a high XP multiplier. You see, every ship should have a multiplier in terms of experience. If they do something, the experience they would get gets multiplied by the ship's multiplier. You see, I believe this is why carriers get so little experience for doing many things. And for instance, if you have a Montana and a Yamato doing the exact same things, the Montana should get more experience. At least that's what I understand from the patch notes that Wargaming have put out, etc. And it appears that the Sims has a fairly high multiplier in this regard, much higher than you would expect. But why is this important for Ranked? Well, you see, in Ranked, if you end up on the losing team, then the number one on the losing team does not lose a star, and number one is obviously, through experience. Which means that getting more experience in Ranked can be fairly important. And if you can get this essentially as a boon on the ship, well, that's just a very good thing, isn't it? So, onto the match. I spawned near the middle, so I want to be, and I kept the base. I warded off that Kia for a bit, and there's a friendly Gnyza now coming with me. Now, let's reward this guy with smokescreen, especially because I asked him and he actually started slowing down, which means that he probably wants that smokescreen. I mean, this guy is aggressive in a battleship. Why should I not be helpful to him? Although this did cost me like 2000 HP, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, let's talk about the strengths of the Sims other than the XP. Well, she has terrible torpedoes. I guess that's not really a strength. She has terrible torpedoes. They're really slow, or the alternative is that they have almost no range. However, she is a US destroyer, which means you get a very strong smokescreen. And so far in ranked battles, I have seen that destroyer smoking battleships is fairly important. And having a stronger smokescreen is very helpful in winning games. Because in ranked battles, people are less focused on having very strong results and more focused on trying to win. And the Sims is fairly good in that regard. The smoke screen is very good. You do have the option to take a defensive fire, which I have in this game, but in ranked I don't recommend it. You should probably use speed boost because you're very unlikely to run into carriers in ranked battles. But you are a US destroyer, which means you are a very strong fighter in gunfights. And you do have a slight advantage over the Mahan in concealment. But you are essentially like a Sea Hull Mahan, which means you only have 4 guns instead of 5, so you'll probably run into many Mahans you can't really beat in a one-on-one fight, but because you have better concealment, well, you can just not take the fight if you want. Because I do think that it is a bit problematic for the Mahan, how bad her concealment ends up being at tier 6. Tier 7. Personally though, I don't think the Sims or the Mahan are the strongest destroyers at that tier, so I'm not quite certain if I am going to play either of the ships myself. Personally, I'm gonna at least try to play at first, the Shiratsu because of the concealment. And if that doesn't work, then I'll try other classes of ships, but if I do go back to destroyers and the Shiratsu didn't work, then I think I will go for the Błyskawica. Okay, so enough about that. Sims is fairly good, and I do recommend her in ranked. But in this game, well, you've seen me go to the beat cap, and now I'm gonna go back. The smoke screen is disappearing. I'm gonna keep shooting this tidbits, but I don't think I will be able to do all that much to her. Your main way of dealing damage to battleships is fires, obviously. Even with IFHE, even though you can penetrate 25mm of armor, I guess this doesn't really work on a tidbits because she's tier 8. But against tier 7 battleships, well, IFHE would work actually. It would be helpful in penetrating and HE dealing damage, but because you're a destroyer, your damage per minute is not that high anyway. So, I was thinking of trying to go and help this Gneisenau with smokescreen. I might have been able to get there. However, the problem is that I would be spotted by this Friedrich der Grosse, and the other reason is that, well, I was afraid of the Atlanta. So I wanted to make like a smokescreen that would cover the Gneisenau, but I wasn't sure if I would even make it in time, and, well, unfortunately, I didn't. And this kinda did mean that I slightly wasted the smokescreen. I do say sorry for the Gneisenau, but I think he already imagined that this would happen. But I did get back into my smoke, and I suppose I'll just try to utilize this for firing at enemies. However, it turns out that there is no real spotting, so this might be a bit sketchy. I am holding the beak cap though, which I imagine should be good enough for my team, at least for a while. Because we are taking into the points advantage, even though we have lost more ships. And I can still, you know, fire at enemies here for like a minute or so. By the way, speaking of ranked, if you're gonna play Destroyer, one thing I recommend learning is your smoke timers. Like, you should pay attention to when you launch your smoke, and you should know how long your smoke lasts. Because if you do that, you will be able to guide your teammates on when the smoke goes up, how long it lasts, etc. And this will be helpful for battleships and well, yourself as well, because you will know when the smoke dissipates. So I'm gonna just spam shells at whatever I can, because this Scharnhorst is coming closer. Well, she is gonna be the target, at least as long as she keeps being spotted. But at this point I'm gonna start running, because the Scharnhorst is getting closer and closer. I think my torpedoes might hit her, maybe not. However, if I wait for too long, the Scharnhorst is gonna be in range, and I honestly need this smoke wall between me and her. Otherwise, well, the smoke is dissipating right now. Because I got too close to the Scharnhorst, and the problem there is that, well, she will spot me, and then the very, very unfriendly Atlanta behind her will take some issue with me. And I really dislike HE rain. Okay, so I did get torpedo hits on the Scharnhorst, and well, one of the advantages on the Sims is that your torpedo reload is fairly fast. It's like 64-65 seconds. I suppose you can even improve it with commander skills. So I take a few shots before I go behind the island on the Scharnhorst. Maybe I'll get a fire, this would help. But she does appear to be flooding, so that is good enough for now. So, by the way, I would like you guys to pay attention to what's going on the match. We have lost 7 ships, they have lost 5, and they are capping the B cap right now, and there is a Friedrich der Grosse coming around. So I think I will try to at least, oh, well, at least there's the Scharnhorst gone, so now it's 4 against, that's a 6, isn't it? Yep, 4 against 6. I'll try shooting the Friedrich der Grosse. I am targeted by 4 enemies. By the way, this is why priority target is just really nice. However, I think they are all behind the island except this Friedrich der Grosse. I fired these torpedoes. I don't think they will hit. Honestly, in hindsight, I think firing these torpedoes was a bit of a mistake, because there really is no chance that they will be hitting. And, well, I could have used them on the Sims that just popped around the corner here, who also torpedoed me, so let's just torpedo beat these easily and keep firing. Okay, torpedoes dodged. I have 4000 HP, but there are many enemies shooting me, so I'm gonna use smoke here and keep firing on the Sims. Sorry, Kiev. Yeah, down to 900, 700 HP. But this Kiev is definitely gonna pay the price. Goodbye, Kiev. Was nice knowing you. I did drop to 294 HP. Well, at least I dealt with the situation. Hopefully there isn't anybody else coming around the corner right now. Like, say in Atlanta. Jesus Christ, man. No, this is really bad. Luckily my torpedoes are up, but she did use radar, so I am dead. Hopefully these torpedoes do something, but she appears to be turning in, so these might not... Whoa! Yes, she's turning away. Excellent. These torpedoes are gonna hit. Thank you very much, Atlanta. Goodbye. And actually 6 of them hit, so only 2 missed. That was really good. And, well, I don't really pay the best attention in this match, so let's just speed through parts of it. Because, like, right now, it ends up being a 3 against 3, but the organizer now is gonna burn down in a moment, so... yeah, that's not the greatest thing, so it'll be a 2 against 3. However, we have the points lead, but there's still 7 minutes to go, which means that it'll take a while before it actually would end in terms of points. So let's watch this OP Cola try to deal with this Moss and that cruiser behind. I don't remember what cruiser it is. That Leberecht Moss is not having a very good time, is she? Secondary is even hurt on this cruiser. By the way, the Pensacola is actually being buffed. Oh, and the Fiji took care of the Taka, so now it's only this Leberecht Maz and the cruiser with no HP. So come on, Pepsi Cola. Oh, it's a Hipper. 8 HP on the Maz, and, well, not anymore. And now it's a fairly healthy Pepsi Cola, apparently with a fairly competent captain against a very low HP Hipper, so let's just complement this Pepsi and the Fiji. And that's goodbye on the Hipper. Okay, so 600,000 credits, 10,554 experience, 109,000 damage, and let's look at the base XP, and that's 2,814 base experience, with number 2 being at 1,400. Essentially at half. And, well, this is the kind of thing that I was talking about. Do you think that this game was a normal 2,800 base XP game in any other ship? I don't think so, at least it didn't feel this way. So detailed report, well, 1.1 million potential damage, that's a fairly strong result. But in terms of damage, the flooding was fairly useful, and credits in the XP, you can see 26,000 Captain XP. Pretty good. And I also made 500,000 credits in profit. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, then like it. If you disliked it, then, well, I suppose you should dislike it. And I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for continued support. Kvalhoth, and I hope I see you guys next time.